This looks good. And hello, good morning, folks. We are today starting new section of the course, which is called altering data in server. So let's jump right into it. If someone who is watching new, so let me tell you where we were yesterday or in my previous stream. In previous stream, we were working on some exercises that have to do with fetching data from this URL, basically a server. So yeah, that's all about it. So important that, and I have something going on here. So let me clear this and clear this as well. Let's start. When creating nodes in our application, we would naturally want to store them in some backend server. The JSON server package claims to be so-called REST or RESTful APIs in its documentation. Get a full fake REST API with zero coding in less than 30 seconds. Seriously. The JSON server does not exactly match the description provided by the textbook definition of a REST API, but neither do most other APIs claiming to be RESTful. We will take a closer look at REST in the next part of the code, but it's important to familiarize ourselves at this point with some of the convention used by JSON server and REST APIs in general. In particular, we will be taking a look at the conventional use of routes, also known as URLs and HTTP request types in REST. So let's see if I click on the routes where it's taking me. I see, so like this, REST. In REST terminology, we refer to individual data objects such as the nodes in our application as resource. Every resource has a unique address associated with it, its URL. According to a general convention used by a JSON server, we would be able to locate an individual node at the resource URL nodes slash 3, where 3 is the ID of the resource. The node's URL, on the other hand, would point to a resource collection containing all the nodes. Resources are fetched from the server with HTTP GET request. For instance, an HTTP GET request to the URL nodes slash 3 will return the node that has the ID number 3. An HTTP GET request to the node's URL would return a list of all nodes. Creating a new resource for storing a node is done by making an HTTP request to the node's URL. According to the REST convention that the JSON server adheres to, the data for the new node resources is sent in the body of the request. JSON server requires all data to be sent in JSON format. What this means in practice is that the data must be a correctly formatted string and that the request must contain the content type request header with the value application slash JSON. Sending data to the server. Let's make the following changes to the event handler responsible for creating a new node. Okay, inside add node. Where is my add node? After this, what they want me to do is sending data to the server. Let's do this. Mm, After the add node function. So I have something called Axios. Uh, I'm posting to this URL with the node object, right? Then logging the response. So this is something I have to do here instead of this. Actually, actually, I would like to do something like this. Let's see. I have my doubts, but for example, uh, so let's see. If first let me comment this and let's see how our actual uh things are working. So currently I have three nodes here, and let's say if I make another node, for example, GraphQL, React, learning, networking, fundamentals, and I wonder if I should wait for a few time so that the existing one. Currently, the empty nodes are also stored. Let's see if I can prevent this to happening. All I have to do is this: if nodes dot length is equal to 0, then put an alert. Uh, write something. Oh, write something. Let's reload this. Okay, but it's still letting me add, which is not good. Of course, because this is how. Okay, so what I would like to do is return after this. Let's say, see, this is what I was talking about. That all the three are here. I have some promise, I guess. That's precisely why it's taking me a long time to do this. That's the log effect. Let's see. Okay, now it's perfect. Uh, Let me push this g add dot gst. Add check for empty nodes. So let's say, um, as you just have seen that what happening, we add, even though I have added y, that means my check is wrong in that section. Let's see if nodes dot length 0, nodes dot length. In starting, it will be empty, right? Uh, this will work, and use effect will render first. Um, Add node. Inside this add node, can I just specifically let's see inside the add node when the uh, save button is clicked, form on submit. Yeah, inside this, if I can put something like let's say if it's an empty node, if it's an event dot target dot value, event dot target dot value, but am I getting a value? Am I getting value out of it? Okay, I'm getting the value. So I think if value dot length, if it's zero, write something. Okay, so let me reload this. And if I do cannot reproduce of a undefined reading value, uh, 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 before that, let me console log something notes dot value, notes dot target dot value, and let's see if it's an empty, then I would like to this is not working for an empty, and I'm doing that on top of a form element, right? So so I think it should not be a problem. Like inside my add node function, I'm checking if the if the person try to submit it an empty value, then I would like to alert it and and tell them to write something and return it. And when they write something, then then let's see, mm, inside this event dot target dot value. Okay, let me remove this. Inside my add node here, if let's say if new node dot length is equal to come out as 0, then I would like to alert it, write something, and and return it. But before that, I would like to console few things. New node and their length. Okay, write something. New node length. Okay. So if now if I write something, so it should be added. Okay. So that was the actually case. Fix empty node adding condition. So nodes. Now, let's see, where were we? I just noticed this and wanted to like resolve this. Now, we are pushing this to Axios server. Axios server. Okay, so let's see. React is fun to learn. If I save this, what should happen? So as per my code, so first it should be set inside the node as it's in my nodes object, and the value should be the empty. And then I have an Axios running here which post my content on this URL, and as a inside the node object, and I am console logging then response. So if I reload this, so my ID, okay, so let's see, ID above, content in middle, and I have important. Okay, React is fun to learn, and now if I reload this and again reload this, so it's permanent. The only changes that needed this to happen is that I just used Axios to post my content like node inside that URL that contains other node objects. Just this a 4 line of code. Now this is interesting. We can create a new object for the node but omit the ID property since it's better to let the server generate IDs for our resources. The object is sent to the server using the Axios post method. The registered event handler logs the response that is sent back from the server console. Yeah, actually, damn, I reload that, right? The newly created node resource is stored in the value of the data property of the response object. Quite often, it is useful to inspect HTTP requests in the network tab of Chrome developer tools, which was used heavily at the beginning of part 0. We can use the inspector to check that the headers sent in the post request are what we expected them to be. Application JSON, uh, like what should I be checking? 201 created, what it's saying, 201. System design is really important, and enter. Okay, so I get that, and my request headers are this. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na. Okay, so let's see, 201 created. My payload was this, and the preview was this, and the response I get is this. ID, content, and important. Now, if I look at this, I have this ID is really important. Since the data we sent in the post request was a JavaScript object, Axios automatically knew to set the appropriate application slash JSON value for the content type header. The tab payload can be used to check the request data. Also, the tab response is useful, shows what was the data sent to the server as a response. The new node is not rendered to the screen yet. This is because we did not update the state of the app component when we created it. Let's fix this. So that's why every time I have to like reload this, right? So what they are telling me inside my Axios, uh, rather than console logging. They want me to do exactly that I have done here. Instead of node object, they want me to display response dot data. Okay. Let's say if I reload this and say something like uh let's let's say um let's say I I don't really get few things sometimes. And enter. Now let's look at this. Then again, I have to reload it, right? And this looks more safe. Hmm. Okay, let me comment this out. And wait a minute, something did happen. Did you look at this? Damn it, I really didn't expect this to be the case. Now this is fun because as I'm adding the data, it's already added inside this as well. Now this is really fun. Sending data to server. Okay, so notes. Then new node returned by the backend server is Huh. Added to the list of nodes in our application state in the customary way of using the set nodes function and then setting the node creation form. An important detail to remember is that the concat method does not change the component's original state but instead creates a new copy of the list. Once the data returned by the server starts to have an effect on the behavior of our web application, we are immediately faced with a whole new set of challenges arising from, for instance, the asynchronicity of communication. This necessitates new debugging strategies, console logging, and other means of debugging become increasingly more important. We must also develop a sufficient understanding of the principle of both the JavaScript runtime and React components. Guessing wouldn't be enough. It's beneficial to inspect the state of the backend server, and that is through the browser. This makes it possible to verify that all the data we intended to send was actually received by the server. In this next part of the course, we will learn to implement our own logic in the backend. We will then take a closer look at the tools like Postman that helps us to debug our server applications. However, inspecting the state of the JSON server through the browser is sufficient for our current needs. The code for the current state, I don't want it. Changing the importance of nodes. Let's add a button to every node that can be used for toggling its importance. We make the following changes to the node. Okay. Hmm. So inside my node component, this here. Let me remove this three, which are not necessary. So inside my node component, inside my notes component. What they want me to do is export default node. So this node function toggle importance. Now on click toggle importance label. So let's see what exactly changes happened. Make important. So if I click something, it should make them important. Mm, 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 mm. So I have node dot important, make node important, or okay. So then inside I have to write some code for actually working the right. We add a button to the component and assign its event handler as the toggle importance function passed in the component's props. The app component defines an initial version of the toggle importance of event handler function and pass it to every node component. Const app is equal to in parentheses toggle importance in which ID we are sending. Just change the previous value, right? So after this, let's say const toggle importance. I'm sending the ID, but which ID? Console what they want to do. Importance of ID needs to be toggle. Importance of the needs. And let's see. After the note here, I would like to send the toggle importance as as node.id. And let me put this here. Okay. Notice how every node receives its own unique event handler function since the ID of every node is unique. Let's see. Let me reload this and wait for it to appear. Handler function written by toggle press not ID will be the importance of the needs to be toggled. Let's see. Come on. Fast. A short reminder here. The string printed by the event handler is defined in a Java-like manner by adding the strings. Yeah, the template string syntax added in ES6 can be used to write similar strings in a much nicer way. I already know that. And let's see. We can now use the bracket syntax to add parts of the string that will evaluate JavaScript expression, and that is the value of variables. Note that we use backticks in template strings instead of quotations mark used in regular JavaScript strings. Individual nodes stored in the JSON server backend can be modified in two different ways by making HTTP request to the node's unique URL. We can either replace the entire node with an HTTP put request or only change some of the node's properties with an HTTP patch request. Okay. Uh, water breaks are really essential sometimes. So, in severe heat, drink water as much as possible. Stay hydrated. So, let's see. Let me reload this again. For some reason, it's not showing. Uh, in individual nodes stored in the JSON server backend can be modified into different ways by making HTTP request to the node's unique URL. We can either replace the entire node, we can with an HTTP put request, or only change some of the node's properties with an HTTP patch request. The final form of the event handler function is the following: toggle importance of ID. So inside that I am passing URL and which node ID, like node, I'm finding the node from the ID. Then I'm passing a variable called change node, and what I'm doing essentially is flipping the important value key. If it's true, then make it false. If it's false, then make it true. Let's see. Almost every line of code. Okay, let's see. Add dot add a button right beside every notes to see the important notes. Let's see if I do this. Okay, make not important, make not important. So now all I have to do is to do this. This is something to be like desired or like see. Say, for example, if I reload this, why on the initial render? So let me see my console. Where is my console? Here, this. So render zero nodes. It said render zero nodes. Let me actually debug this part because it's so much bugging to me right now. So what it is say that not an empty nodes. When do you want me to run use effect? If I said empty, that means when the app component is rendered. But currently what is happening, actually let me ask ChatGPT and consult about this. So this is my current app component, and inside that I am using use effect to fetch data from the URL and JSON server. Basically, when I reload the page, then accordingly to the code, the app component render and then use effect should should run, right? Because the the second argument is empty array. That means that it should run only the app component runs renders, right? And When I reload the patch, that means app component is rendered again. Then it should immediately show the nodes in UI, right? But currently, but currently, it's not happening. Oh man, so much to type. Your understanding is actually mostly correct. That means I have some nitpicks, right? The problem is one very subtle React use effect mistake. This line is wrong. You are passing hook, which means return the hook function. Note that, note that execute the hook function. So React never actually runs your execute request. Why? Oh, damn. So can I do this if I reload this? Okay, so that was the issue. I was passing only the function. I'm passing the function, but I should be doing what? Function calling. Should answer your execute request. What React thinks you are doing is you are effectively give React this return hook, and in use effect, return a function being cleanup function like remove event listener, unsubscribe, clear interval. So React stores hook as a cleanup instead of executing it. Correct fix is you want this best version. Honestly, most React developers would align it with this cleaner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Your understanding of empty array is mostly right. Run effects only after first render mount. Important distinction. Not every render, only initial mount. Actual life cycle happening when page reloads. Step 1. App renders. So UI this. Another bug in your code is you currently do both. Inside add node and later this causes duplicate render still state issue. Correct version is remove this. Only update after server succeeds. Okay, so they want me to fix nodes render issue. Nodes. Okay. So inside my add node, they want me to, let's say, if I remove this, then and reload it again, and let's say make it so not 0 days, and let's say save. Yep, everything working perfectly. So this was the issue. It's not adding and server. So nodes. Okay, let's see what other issues I have. This should not exist when using backend. Server should generate IDs itself. So remove ID entirely from node objects. Okay, if that's what they want me to do, then I will do it. Yeah, SD ID key from node object. Okay, so let's see. Let me add another. Another part make important. Let's see now. Inside my TV, what data I got, but I'm still getting this. Almost every line of code, the function body contains important detail. The first line defines the unique URL for each node resource based on its ID. The array find method is used to find the node we want to modify, and we then assign it to the node variable. So find method, what I know about find method is that inside the find method, if we put any condition, so what find method does it, that it spits out any resultant in array that matches or satisfy that condition, and the first element inside the array that satisfy that condition, it spits it out, nothing else. After this, we create a new object that is an exact copy of the old node, apart from the imported property that has the value flipped from true false or from false to true. The code for creating the new object that uses the object spread syntax may seem a bit strange at first. Node empty object inside object set. I have a node important. I'm flipping that. So let's say inside my toggle importance, inside this toggle importance, I'm doing this. I have a URL, ID, and changing the node. So let's say make it important, make not important, make it important. Node. Da, 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 da. So let's see. Show important nodes. Show all. Show important nodes. Make not important. Show all. Make important. Okay. So something like this is really important. Almost okay. The code for creating the new object that uses the object spread syntax may seem a bit strange at first. Nah, I mean, I know the inner workings of it, so I guess I'm fine. So basically, what I know is that this spread node is spreading the data containing inside that node object. So we are just parsing that entirely, and that we are then modifying the important key value. That's it. In practice, this nodes creates a new object with copies of all the properties from the node object. When we add properties inside the curly braces after the spread object, and that is object will be true. In our example, the important property gets the negation of its previous value in the original object. There are few things to point out. Why did we make a copy of the node object we wanted to modify when the following code also appears to work? This one, right? This is not recommended because the variable node is a reference to an item in the nodes array in the component state. And as we recall, we must never mutate state directly. Yes, sir. In React, it's also worth noting that the new object change node is only a so-called shallow copy. Yep, meaning that the value of the new object are the same as the value of the old object. If the values of the old object were objects themselves, then the copied values in the new object would reference to the same objects that were in the old object. The new node is then sent with put request to the backend where it will replace the old objects. The callback function sets the component's node state to a new array that contains all the items from the previous state nodes array, except for the old node which is replaced by the updated version of it by the server. Okay, let's see. Mm, which is accomplished with the map method. The map method creates a new array by mapping every item from the old array into an item in the new array. In our example, the new array is created conditionally so that if node id equal to id is true, the node object returned by the server is added to the array. If the condition is false, then we simply copy the item from the old array into the new array instead. This map trick may seem a bit strange at first, but it's worth spending some time wrapping your head around it. We will be using this method many times throughout the course. Oh man, I guess this is it for the today's stream. I just wanted to like get back at exactly what I was doing, and I have a fair share of like this experience today, or rather a taste of it. So I'm gonna be testing a little bit more, and that's it. Yeah, tomorrow we will start from this section, extracting communication with the backend into a separate module. This look